The yellow vests are kind of gate-crashing, as it were, this kind of traditional show of solidarity. You're absolutely right. I think it could actually get very unpleasant. The yellow vests themselves are allied with the anarchist black blocs, and already this morning we've heard some of the union leaders, particularly the more reformist CFDT leaders, urging their marchers, not just in Paris but right across France, to avoid violence, to walk away from that, to not get involved. So there's very much the idea of piggybacking going on here, and a great deal of reluctance from the trade unions to go down that path.
And you mentioned these black blocs who are, I don't know if aligned is the right word. They've been at these yellow vest protests, but are they truly part of the same movement as the yellow vest protesters?
Well, there's some of the yellow vests have been reaching out to them, yeah. There's been an attempt to coordinate, but the black blocs, you know, some of them are I saw them described actually, some of the yellow vests as being sort of ultra yellow, and some of them are black blocs. I mean, as you probably know, the black blocs kind of turn up. They don't look like black blocs. They kind of keep their gear in their rucksacks. Suddenly they get dressed up and they take control of the situation. So it's a difficult relationship, but some of the yellow vests have been quite clear that they've been willing since the new year to talk to the black blocs about agitation and violence.
Paul, as you've been speaking, I don't know if you can see these pictures, but we're seeing some quite violent images already of people throwing gates, things already heating up, and we're still an hour away from the beginning of this march. Yeah. Just to remind our viewers, now this comes just a few days after Emmanuel Macron announced a new series of measures aimed at calming the anger from the yellow vests. I just want to get your thoughts on those measures, which obviously aren't enough.
Well, they are and they aren't. I mean, what happened immediately after he announced those measures is that, you know, some of the yellow vest leaders said that they're clearly the extreme yellow vests. There's no way of appeasing them. They've clearly gone down a particular path, and they promised that last Saturday and also today there would be a really vigorous response, and that's what's happening today. And in a sense, the fact that there are 7,500 gendarmes, CRS, riot police out on the streets of Paris. There have already been something like 3,000, not arrests, but security checks. You know, that shows that we know, that the authorities know that it was going to kick off. And in some ways, what Macron announced was never going to be enough for this kind of, this real hardcore. It's really out in provincial France where people are looking what's happening here and will be responding to the government's plans for reform that we'll see in due course, whether this has worked or not.
And Paul, again, as you've been speaking, we're looking at pictures out of Paris where we see these black blocs who are attacking a van, smashing the windows. Yep. I mean, I guess the question is, we kind of keep coming back to this impossible problem. I mean, can the government present anything that will help these people get what they want?
Well, I mean, these people that you're talking about, the black blocs, in a sense, they've got what they want, which is a protest movement. They have historically, you know, this is not new. Whenever there's been any kind of big strike movement over the last 10, 15 years, the black blocs have turned up and created violence with the authorities. It's what they do. The ongoing yellow vest protests allow them to parasite, to piggyback this protest. I don't think that there is. I mean, looking at some of the tracts, some of the material that's coming out of these people, there is nothing that can pacify them. They are there to professionally cause trouble. That's the problem. I mean, the government does have a problem there, that the government is responsible for security, for safety. So there are some big question marks there, of course, that the government has to face up to.